Alright, so you guys probably already know what I'm talking about with the title. The infamous Purple Guy Death audio. If you were anywhere near the FNaF fandom in 2015, you could not escape this thing. A 30-second clip of a man just suffering, and it got attached to one of the most iconic moments in the series. The death of William Afton, the Purple Guy himself. And for a while, everyone thought it was real, like not real, like not audio of a guy actually dying, but official, I mean. Hidden somewhere in the FNaF 3 game files. People swore this was the sound of Purple Guy actually dying inside the spring-locked suit. And because Five Nights at Freddy's was built on secrets, theories, and hidden lore, it made total sense to believe it. But the true story behind this audio is a lot weirder, and honestly, it's one of my favorite little rabbit holes in the whole fandom that pretty much no one has covered from what I've seen. So in this video, we're gonna go back to 2015, look at how this audio blew up, how people investigated it, and where it actually came from. So let's get into it. Okay, so picture this, it's early 2015, FNaF 3 has just released. At this point, the series is basically the internet's horror obsession. You've got Markiplier getting jump scared by this. Let's not talk about the art that was going around, by the way. You had MatPat cranking out theory videos every other day, you had Octo doing deep dives, and a whole swarm of smaller channels picking apart teasers and other stuff. Scott Cawthon knew exactly how to hype people up. He'd post these cryptic images on his site, with little shadows, hidden text, animatronic eyes in the dark, and the fandom would go insane analyzing them. Every teaser spawned 20 different theory videos. Kids on forums would argue over single pixels, and that was basically their whole life. Oh, I'm not projecting, by the way. So when FNaF 3 finally dropped, the expectations were through the roof. And while people can debate whether the gameplay itself lived up to the hype, you know, because it is slower and it is less frantic than FNaF 2, it's less chaotic, which I think that worked in its favor, but I'm not going to start debating FNaF gameplay right now. One thing is for certain, the story was amazing. Like, everyone's mind was blown by how Scott tied it all together. Because if you don't remember, this was the game that finally showed us Purple Guy's death. Yes, the man behind the slaughter. The guy who had been haunting the series since the very beginning. In those weird little Atari-style minigames, you see him panic, crawl into a spring-lock suit, and then collapse. And pretty quickly, people picked up that the implication was that he's crushed, impaled, and left to rot inside the animatronic. But here's the thing, in the game itself, it's silent, just 8-bit visuals. Like, there's no scream, no extreme gore, nothing. Which, of course, left fans to imagine, what would that actually sound like? So enter March 5th, 2015. Just 3 days after FNaF 3 dropped, a YouTuber named Haddock uploads a video with a sound file called Bad Ending MP3, and suddenly the internet has its answer. The audio was 30 seconds of pure agony, slow, guttural, almost too realistic. It starts with heavy breathing, then builds into desperate, ragged screaming, like the person is in unbearable pain but can't even beg for help. It's not cartoony, it's not exaggerated, it sounds really real. I think it would be a disservice if I don't play it for you guys, so I'm gonna play it. If you want to skip it for some reason, here's a timestamp. So yeah, this spread very fast. Animations popped up, YouTubers reacted to it, and some even edited it into the FNaF 3 minigames to complete the scene. For younger fans, this was extremely disturbing, cause imagine being like 9 years old, finally beating FNaF 3, hopping on YouTube and suddenly hearing the most realistic interpretation of a man being crushed alive. People legit lost sleep over it. And because it was so convincing, rumors started flying. The biggest one was that this was a hidden file buried in the FNaF 3 code, a secret Scott had left for fans to discover, which honestly didn't sound far-fetched at the time. FNaF thrived on secrets, so people just believed it, and to this day, there are still a lot of people that believe that this is canon and actually part of the game, but it's not. So let's get into the theories. For a while, everyone had their own explanation. Some swore it came from a gore movie, others thought it was ripped from some obscure horror game, and a few had the idea that it was like actually real, like an actual recording of someone being tortured. Yeah, this is kinda goofy with hindsight. Like, I'm not gonna entertain this. But yeah, that's also what made it so effective. Like, you couldn't just laugh it off as a cheesy sound effect. It had that uncanny edge where you thought, like, wait, what if this isn't fake? Cause I remember hearing it for the first time and just sitting there like, yeah, that doesn't sound like acting. And judging by the comments back then, I wasn't alone. People were seriously disturbed, and at the same time, people loved it. Because yeah, finally you could hear Purple Guy, the big bad guy, suffer. But then people started looking closer. Haddock, the guy who uploaded it, didn't really explain where it came from. When someone asked if he made it, he kind of dodged it, joking about being close when it happened, which, you know, isn't exactly reassuring. He also linked to a page where it supposedly came from, but by the time anyone clicked, it was already dead, just a 404, which only made it stranger. Like, here's this terrifying audio supposedly ripped straight from FNaF, and the only link to its source is gone. That could have been the end of it, just another creepy mystery floating around the fandom, but of course, Five Nights at Freddy's fans don't let things go. Fast forward a little bit, and the Reddit user named Pausegate made this very informative post. He finds that the audio wasn't hidden in FNaF 3's files at all. It was actually hosted on a site called Pico Song, which was basically a quick audio sharing site people used back then. And that's where things got interesting. The original file was called Bad Ending MP3. Then there was a second version, Bad Ending Redux MP3, which added some extra sound effects and mixing. And even a third longer version, Bad Ending Epilogue, and that one runs for a full minute and 37 seconds of just pure screaming. Like someone really sat down and recorded 3 different cuts of William Afton dying. Pausegate dug even deeper and traced it back to /VG, the video games board on 4chan, specifically the FNaF general threads, and that's where the name Ace shows up. Ace, also known online as that one Ace guy, was the actual creator of the audio. He was just some guy with a microphone hanging out in FNaF threads, messing around with voice acting. He recorded his screams, uploaded them to Pico Song, and shared them around. And from there, the internet did what the internet does. It spread, mutated, and eventually got mistaken for canon. And Ace himself even confirmed it. On his Tumblr in March 2015, he posted, "I am the guy that made Bad Ending Redux MP3. He linked it, said he did the voice, even showed some art he drew to go with it.
God, it's hard to breathe in this. Ugh. God, I hate those masks. Jesus. Ugh.
Just very nonchalantly, like, yeah, that was me. I made one of the most infamous audios tied to any horror game ever. And it is kind of hilarious when you think about it, cause this guy just screams into a mic for fun, posts it online, and suddenly half the fandom thinks they've uncovered a hidden torture file in FNaF 3. And to be fair, his acting was really convincing. I want to take a second here to glaze Ace, cause Jesus, this voice acting is insane, like disturbingly convincing. People on Reddit were saying stuff like, man, this is hard to listen to, and Scott should hire this guy. Others were saying that William Afton deserved every second of that pain. So like the reactions were split between being genuinely disturbed and kind of impressed. But at the end of the day, this is genuinely good voice acting, so big shout out to Ace. Okay, but here's the thing. Even after all that proof, the Pico song links, the Reddit investigation, Ace's own Tumblr post, people still treat this audio like it's real. Even today, you'll see comments saying, "This is the official death scream," or "This was found in the game files." And honestly, I get it. Because in some ways, it is real. Not canon real, but emotionally real. It perfectly matches what fans imagined when they first saw Purple Guy collapse in that spring-lock suit. The slow, miserable agony of someone who thought he was untouchable, finally getting obliterated by his own mistakes. The official stuff we got later, like the scream and into the pit, or the sound effects in the FNaF movie, just don't hit the same, I'm sorry. They feel cleaner and safer. Meanwhile, the fan-made one, it's raw, it's messy, it feels like something you weren't supposed to hear, and that's why it's stuck. Another huge factor was obviously timing. You gotta remember, FNAF 3 came with insane hype. Theories were everywhere, Scott was dropping teasers, people were on edge, and then right as the fandom is processing the reveal of Purple Guy's death, this audio just appears online, just 3 days later. It was perfect, too perfect, it felt like destiny. Like of course there'd be an audio file out there completing the scene Scott left silent. That's why it went viral. Millions of views, countless animations, reaction videos, endless debates. And even though the truth came out, the myth was already cemented. So where does that leave us? Well, to me, the Purple Guy death audio is a beautiful and perfect example of how fandom myths are born. A fan-made creation drops at the exact right time. It's convincing enough to pass as canon and people want to believe it. Before long, it becomes part of the culture regardless of what's actually quote-unquote real. And honestly, that's what makes FNAF so special. It's not just the games, it's the community filling in the blanks. Sometimes with theories, some are good, some are not, but still, sometimes with all the amazing fan art, and sometimes with a scream so convincing it fooled millions. Ace created one of the most iconic fake pieces of FNAF lore ever, and yeah, it's great, it's beautiful. So yeah, that's the story of the Purple Guy death audio, a fan-made scream that somehow managed to outlive the official versions. I'm about to hit 40k subs, so just wanted to take a moment to thank you guys. Like, again, how is that a real number? I don't want to try to come across like fake humble, but I really don't understand how I've built such a big community, because 40k is a lot, trust me. I don't take y'all for granted. So yeah, thank you. And finally, what about you guys? Did you ever hear this back in 2015 and think it was real? Or did you suspect it was just some fan audio? Drop your stories in the comments because I love reading other people's experiences with this kind of stuff. Anyways, thanks for sticking around for this little dive into FNAF 3 history. Well, again, if you enjoyed it, maybe leave a like and subscribe. It helps the channel a ton and helps me make more videos like this one. See you guys in the next video. Peace.